really don't belong. I can't explain it. When I close my eyes, I see a strange reality. Am I dreaming, or on the edge of remembering? You wake up feeling like you really don't belong. You can't explain it, but when you close your eyes you see familiarity. Are you dreaming, or on the edge of remembering? Hello, we're back here on YouTube. What do you know? Well, I noticed when I looked, which I'm not good at, I went and looked at what was already up there for thumbnails, and I saw, oh, this one in progress, and then you don't see a picture of it completed. Maybe that's because I'm just polishing up the edges to where I want. So I'm going to go ahead and going to add to this right now, and then actually I have to take one painting down because this is going to have to hang up. Oh, I see. We've been moving things around because we're making room for my new easel, which right now is still in a box because, well, there's just not enough room for it yet. I'm not going to despair. There. Okay. There. now have a place to hang this up, because as soon as I put this stuff on, gotta level it out. We'll use a chopstick for this. And hang it up so it stays level. Needs to stay level to dry properly. Now, I used this earlier today. On this, actually, we're using this here to show waves and preserve the color underneath it. So it's subtle, but you do end up seeing bands of color. When the next one happens, it'll be easier to, like, I get it, if you don't know. All right, so let's get this show on the road. Are you still plugging up? Please don't do this to me. I want to just be able to move on with this one, because we have a new product called Triple Thick. Stuff is absolutely gorgeous in finish. So I have been running tests on what happens if you use these acrylics over the foil, because the foils, if they have color in them, because right now the vogue is the colored foils, they are so cool looking. I have collected some, I bought some. Turns out, not a good idea. You can't really coat it. As soon as you do, it changes color. Matter of fact, it dissolves a bunch of the color right off the foil, and you end up like this, back with a plain copper, plain gold, and the color is flat. In some places, literally muddy or in black, and because it lifted the dark blue and black, it just like dissolved it right off the foil, just absorbed it into the emulsion, and the whole thing turned like smoky quartz, just, but not in a good way. So that's what we're trying to avoid, especially with bigger things like this. This took a lot of hours to put this on. The gold leaf was not just like dropped on it. I worked the gold leaf in a little at a time, so this was a lot of work. And if I put gold on it, I mean one of these coatings, and it turned green, I would be really upset. I don't know for how long, but I would be upset, at least initially. You can only get so upset with mortal works. And if everything everyone ever did was permanent, there'd be no frickin' room for us to store it all. All right. This should work now. Well, should and will. Come on, baby. Well, we got some of them. We need to do this kind of like quickly. There. So you might wonder, how did I test this? Aside from that canvas, I tried on my fingernails to see which one of the metals could handle the most real life handling. Because I'm trying to create art, not just so, oh, this will be good for a year on your wall. I'm trying to make it last 25 to 100 years minimum, which to me is the only thing that, I mean, why bother? You put so much energy into it. And I know I do it all for fun and joy, and the joy of doing it is the thing. Nevertheless, if somebody puts money out for something I made, I want them, especially if they love it, I want them to be able to enjoy it for like their whole lives. So that's what I think about when I create things like this, especially when I mix media, because if you don't know your media, you are potentially undermining your work. You mix the wrong chemicals together, and instead of something permanent, you have something that starts falling apart, changing, dissolving. I mean, any number of weird ass responses that make you go, oh my god. And that's not what you want to have, a response you want to have to your own work, because that's a bad one. All right. I could use a little more, I think, but I can't lay this down. Where's that needle? Come back to me. Oh, right here. Thank you. Oh, it's made some bubbles. We don't want bubbles in this stuff. In this case, it's all right, in a way, anyway, because I'm spreading this stuff out. Any bubbles are going to be ironed away a bit. There's a clog in there that is repeatedly coming down into the nozzle, which means I'm going to have to cut the damn nozzle. And I was hoping not to have to do that yet. You are not smooth enough. We must cut the nozzle. Okay. Now, the good news is I have an easel. Bad news is there's no room to open it up. It's still in the box. Good news is my neighbor wants my little couch thing. But bad news is she's got to get someone to move her old one and get rid of it. Good news is she's got a couple of sons who could help her. Bad news is she feels weird about asking her kids to help her. So we'll see what happens. If we do not have a resolution very soon, I'll go on one of those Facebook groups and say free. And I would like to do that before Christmas, so someone who needs a nice place to sit will have a nice place for the holiday. You know. Make it somebody else's lucky day. It's really pretty cool. But with my back problems, it's not a good fit. But my friend, on the other hand, she's getting back problems from sitting on a crappy couch that doesn't support her back. So she is highly motivated to do something, I would think. I would hope. All right, are you going to be useful? You're being kind of dickish. We're going to have to cut that. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. Where are my good scissors? Uh-huh. Well, that let the air in. And the stuff out. Thank you. Now that's a lot more like it. Now I can see where this is one of those things. I think I'll always want it in a small quantity, unless for some reason I start doing big pours to coat things, which is a possibility. And it's possible with my new easel, because it tilts, so I can go from upright to flat and cover the surface, or do like a watercolor, which of course you need the flexibility to pick up and move your paper or canvas. I love that more people are getting into doing the, flooding the work with color and just enjoying form and color. I just love those two things, form and color. Not necessarily to form a thing. I mean, this is forming things, but this is the whole idea here. A little different. Oh, I hate those tickles in the ear that go to the back of the throat or vice versa, however it works. I hope I did not pick up anything at the Christmas party. Ew, what do you thought? I was very friendly. Like, you know, went around with my camera and got pictures of everybody. Even those who hate pictures. I won't share those, though. I respect everyone's privacy and modesty, and people who just can't accept their own beauty. I mean, it's really interesting to see people, how they view themselves. They're always their worst critic. Okie dokie, no, Lena, we need you to do your thing. Leveling. You're not leveling right there. I want you to level more. Don't hold my little footprints here. Okay. Weaving a new planet. Weaving a new world. It will return. Yep. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, so this is on the agenda. We're moving some of the yellow from the sacred, the sacral chakra. Well, we've got I just think of it as the creative center, the intuitive center, and it's gold and glowing like our own inner sun, and that's the center. And right above that is the heart chakra, the throat chakra, third eye, and we have the heart chakra, the throat chakra, and the third eye. So, because we're actually very fluid, when people are talking about even chakras, it's like, you have to remember that you're a rainbow of like a liquid light. It is moving all the time through you. So, yeah, you can, when you're feeling something strongly, you will, wherever that is coming from, like if you feel threatened, about, jealous about your mate, or fearful that someone's going to break into your home, none of these things are healthy to think about because, law of attraction and all that. Sustained thought will eventually bring the vibration to your door. So we don't want to be focused on the worst that can happen. Nevertheless, we do. But when we're thinking of something like that, yeah, we're drawing from our first two chakras, the ones we're sitting on, and then up around the belly button. And that is where we have usually our earliest problems, babyhood, infanthood, childhood, all that early stuff. While we're learning to establish our identity, which is usually following someone else because, whatever example is around is what baby goes for, because what choice does it have? In any case, when you are just relaxed, you're a rainbow. Your energy is just flowing. And if you are just sitting there looking out on a field of green, looking out at nature, maybe some cows and horses or something in the distance, and You don't have to worry about them because they're not actually yours. You can just enjoy watching them grazing in the sun. And just looking at that can make you feel relaxed, and you're not in a state of any kind of deep thought processes. You're just really a visual meditation. And when you're like that, you're a little closer to this area. You know, you're more like blue like the sky, more relaxed, connected with your higher self, and just observing, not judging. And then as soon as you start to have a judgment about it, you say, hey, they shouldn't have a cow, then you start dipping. You start to going down to where that idea, where they shouldn't have a cow, came from. And if it came from something you were taught when you were very young, you're going down to those lower two chakras, and that's what that response is. And yeah, you may see some more red and orange moving around as you were just feeling so peaceful and everything was right with the world until you made a judgment about the cow. And it disrupted your energy and started drawing energy a little bit more strongly from one particular area instead of just being, you know, gelled with the whole world. So if you start to feel an anxiety, or you start getting pissed off about the way someone else is living their own life, you should just consider your own well-being for a moment, which is what that which you call the Creator desires most for you. To enjoy, to prosper, to be happy. But every time you step outside of that good vibe, which is your connection, that's your umbilical cord right to divinity, every time you feel, ew, or ooh, that's the energy's going down below the belly button, and that's not a good thing as an adult, normal as a child, because that's where you're being programmed as a child. Thou shalt not do this, thou shalt do this, and a lot of those thou shalt do's are not in commandments, but what our parents decided on their own, not always a good thing. So we have to learn, you know, to recognize what's going on with our energies, where our feelings are, where they're rising from. And as for me, I believe that when you have started dealing, I mean, everybody has some crap in their life. I don't know anybody that hasn't had some crappy childhood memory, and some way worse than others, absolutely. But some not all that bad, you know. Never went hungry, never went without a roof, never felt insecure, didn't deal with the people in the middle of a divorce. You know, the crazy uncle at the Thanksgiving table was controllable or disappeared most of the year, you know. I mean, they didn't have too much trauma. Just, you know, we have to consider the normal things, the inevitables, the life, death things. So we have mostly people who have experienced some damage early on, and so it's not surprising, and it shouldn't surprise you when you have these reactions to your world. And these reactions are, well, reactive, you know. You see something, you feel something, a feeling come up about it, you have an opinion about something, and we get drawn into it real fast with politics. I mean, you can't turn on anything anymore without seeing politics somewhere. So, Exie, hello. Welcome, darling. How are you today? YouTube, I have to use my phone, and my phone's not very bright. Let's brighten that up so I can see when there's a chat. Exie. Ah! Good to see you. It's hard not to talk about energy and spirituality, that kind of thing, when you're working on a painting like this. But on the painterly side, this is what's going on today. I started yesterday deepening the blues so we'd have a greater contrast with the lighter blue that I had all of this transparent material protect from flooding it with darker color. So we've got the contrast there, and it'll be even darker because we have to balance this here. But we need to, really have that depth of color. And I wasn't planning on making any more of this for this side, but this might need it. So also yesterday I deepened the colors here and made them follow down. And then, excuse me, started bringing up the yellow energy from solar plexus chakra. And now I want to bring it into the outer petals of the heart chakra. Even though green is actually what's closest to the pink, I'm trying to illustrate, literally, the joy of connecting with your creative urges and how important it is to keep connecting with your inner joys. And we are essentially creators. We came here to create. No matter how much we get into observing, we're still here to be creative. And whether it's creative in the field of physics and math, head stuff, or engineering stuff, or art stuff, writing stuff. I mean, we are here to create this world. So to do that most effectively is to follow the path of joy. If you follow any other feeling, you're not going to find the things you love to do. I'm excelente. Thank you for asking. So I have here this color, more or less, and I need to see what happens with the ink, which this is just a primary yellow, is what I put over the greens, blues, and purples down here. I have to move like this to see the light differently. The light is always such an issue here. So I brought the yellow into here, and now I want to make sure that as I bring it up here, that it's moving into the heart. But when I put it on pink, it's highly likely it's going to look more orange. So that is exactly what it is. It's definitely not a good enough yellow. So we are going to do another little experiment. I happen to have some white acrylic here for another painting that we're working on. Let's just go ahead and squeeze a little out there. Yeah, go ahead. I don't mind if a little shows through, because then it's cool. Then we can get some nice contrast between the plain yellow and the orange that is going to happen when those combine. So we'll give that a minute. Now I know I can cover this pretty well if I use the acrylic with the gel medium in it, but that is thick. It's very thick, and I'm kind of where I've already got it as thick as I want to go. So we also have another option. let's try that. Now this white in here is what I mixed up with what was left of some of my cheap acrylics and mixed with the better acrylic, but that had too much gel medium in it for what I want. So actually this is not for this. I was able to thin it enough so it'll go through this nozzle and not much else. All right, so let's take the yellow. Oh, nice yellow. Add some white, and we have a nice, happy yellow. That looks yummy on its own, doesn't it? All right, happy yellow. What happens when you get happy over that pink now? It's not really intense enough. It's the wrong shade. Add a little bit of teensy weensy white in there, and that changes that too, doesn't it? Very nicely. Let's see where we land. That's pretty good, I think. It still has to go over something more opaque, but I think that can be the right color. More white. Make it a little bit more opaque on its own. We will try again, because we have an acrylic ink here and an acrylic paint here. Two very different viscosities. I hate waiting for paint to dry. I already put the outlines, the dots. What if I just go in like this? Let that dry and then come back in with the yellow ink. Let's try it. I think that might be the way to go. It's leveling out okay, but hey, that's an air bubble, I think. Maybe we need another little teeny drop. That does give you some precision measuring, I'll tell you what. All right, that's how we'll do it. Yep, looks like we're gonna have to replace that dot. But that's okay, I know this color very well. Maybe. It is a medium magenta. Or maybe it's a quinacridone rose. Okay, I don't know it like the back of my hand. I'll recognize it when I see it though. Okay, we'll go full on sun up here. I'm going to replace that dot too. Too tiny. Ah. No, you don't. Let me keep that clean. So what are you up to today? Are you working? I should keep this close. Oh. My sister sent something to go look at. I'm not going to do it now. A big rude. Also would lose my YouTube chat. Is it already bedtime? Oh, that's right, you are up all night. I think there was a song called Up All Night. I used to love working all night. It was the quietest time of day. Even though I lived on my own. You're never alone, you know. You live in an apartment building or things like that. You always hear people. But you don't hear that much from midnight to 3 in the morning. And I loved that time because of that. Less traffic. And then before dawn, specialized traffic. Milk people, egg people, grocery people, truckers. The deliveries begin as the sun rises. They're already on their way. And their trucks sound different. They sound busy. Busy and bored. No, you're going to end up covered too. Oh, bubbles. Nasty bubbles. All right, I give in. I sucked them up. Ha ha ha, you're back in the bottle with the rest of your friends. All right. Let's see, how do we do here? Let's take a look. It will be bright. Very, very bright. Full on contrast. Nope, we're gonna have to make a different color after that's dry, but that's going to take a couple of hours. So we really are going to move it this time. And we're going to bring on another tedious masterpiece. Come here, you. Thought I was doing yellow, huh? No, I'm not. I'm just going larger and having to push more things out of the way. So hold on. Get the ink out of there, right? Yeah, move over there, thank you. You will bring back in a minute. You, and you, and you, and you. That might be the way to go. Maybe not. Okie dokie. So, this is where it'd be really nice to have the easel. I need to look at it this way. I'm too short. I can go ahead and paint this the gold I was planning, though. I decided to go gold paint. What do you think, if you're still awake enough to answer? I'll show you the options, which are not many. All right. I can't go metal on these. It'll definitely go wrong, because when you go with the metal, you have to count that like you're dark, because it reflects every color that comes near it. So if I'm wearing bright pink and I walk up here, it's going to reflect my bright pink a little bit too much. So I can't go that. The eye will go nuts. I'm just not going to be able to cover that. We're just going to have to work around it. So I was thinking of the light gold, even though they're both called gold, different companies. So I'm thinking this, but we also have that. Or like the bright one up here and the dark one for the curl, two different golds. Actually, I kind of like that idea. Gold by Liquitex and gold by Art Deco. All right. Oh yes, if you're new to using these, keep in mind that you're not always going to notice everything about it when you open and close it, especially when you close it. There might be a little bit of live paint there, and when you close it and you snap it, it's going to send it somewhere, not where you want it necessarily. So remember that when you close it or open it, to not be over or pointing at your artwork. You may regret it. Okay, that can just sit there for the moment. I think I'm going to go ahead and stick this in the sink. Okie dokie. Let's, yeah, let's make some room a little differently. Oh, gonna be so glad when my studio is all set up. But meanwhile, it is exciting. Come on, I need a different brush. I miss my original nearsightedness, I will tell you that. The sun is in my eyes. I'll have to come back in here with the yellows, but not, I don't really like going over gold very much. In terms of opacity, not a chemical thing. We need a second coat. Dry with the speed of paint. Or better. Oh. Running out of room. I'm just filling up cups and things with brushes. Well, we have a moment to wait. Not enough for me to really do anything else, but we have a couple things we can do. Yes, I indulged. I bought a container of cookies. We have had 2 round and 1 square so far. I think for variety, we will go with a triangular shape. A little authentic, buttery shortbread. It's okay. Especially when you consider it was made overseas, I believe. And we'll find out for sure. You know, I didn't look into it. Imported by Allied International. Indeed it was. Made in India. McGuinness, a Scottish company from India. That's interesting. Brought into Maryland and shipped before them, by them. That best before 7/28/2025. Some butter. Oh, not all butter. Sugar, butter, vegetable oil, shortener, palm and palm kernel. All right, not good. Artificial butter flavor. You have to add butter flavor to this? Oh, yes, I will eat them. No, I will not buy any more. Not quite dry. Metallics, metallics, metallics. So tricky. I've been really enjoying gold though. Oh yay. The sun has inched out of my eye. Just, well, as long as I'm inched over this side. Oh, getting blinded again. I guess I just had the grace of a cloud there for a few minutes. Let's hope for another one. Oh, the sun's headed down. that sun is fierce and not fooling around. Yeah, the sunlight is playing havoc on the paint and my eyes. So we're going to stop just a minute here. We're going to turn it every which way again. Let's see what's reflecting where. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that's happening is the paint itself is reflecting the yellow back onto it. So there are places it actually looks like there is no paint. It's really just a trick of the light and eye. Yeah, that way. Now this white gel, modeling gel, is, I think they're calling it a paste. As technically it is paste, but it's got this gel-like feeling to it. After it's dry, it's like very soft plasticky, which is, you know, it's fun. It does feel different when you're working with it. Oh, not so much. It's fun to work with, but it's got its own temperament you've got to get used to. That's why on the other painting I'm working with actual clay, because there's some things I'm having too much trouble doing with my hands and this stuff. Alright, I just have to let this dry completely so I can take a look at it. What I'm going to do though is we need to fasten this down, and that's what I'm going to do now. I do like these little bottles, fine points. They're so nice to have for the detail work. I don't remember being able to get needles this fine for art back when I was doing things. I mean, you had an actual syringe, medical syringe. And in addition to the problem getting syringes in a day when people were getting into drugs that required syringes, it was not so easy to do. But the craft ones were just not quite fine enough. This is what I was looking for. Not something fine enough to go into your veins, but definitely a nice control point. Most commonly you'd see these cool plastic ones with this curved tip, and closest to the end was the smallest opening you could manage. But their smallest one, it was not small enough. At least not for me. It was good for some things, but when I was working on the inside of chicken eggshells, building little bits of scenery, that's what I was craving. So periodically I did get this very medium into a syringe, but you couldn't clean it. The syringe point was too fine. I didn't have a needle fine enough to go into a needle to clean it out. And so I used one. It's a one-time use, then you had to dispose of a needle, which back then it was not that big a deal, because actually I lived out in the country and nobody would have known what you had and didn't have anyway. Let's see, there's a little spot here with no gold. We're gonna let that slide. It's sealed. As long as it's sealed, we're good. That's the whole idea here. I expect surface tension will help draw some of this under. We did have to wait a couple of weeks to do this because of the nature of what it was, not being absorbent to the stuff I used as an adhesive. Okay. Okay, from this angle, with this light, I can already see where one coat of the painting over here, or the paint, is too transparent. So I missed a little spot there, and I'm going to guess some other spots along the way. Well, unless they're going to wait. We need different lighting to catch all that stuff. So that's what we've got. Meantime, I've got this leftover gold, and it's too dark. I think I want to use the lighter gold for the nose because that becomes part of the flame. And I have to start doing some pattern up here in this dark yellow, or light and then dark yellow, like you see it coming out here and up here, because I'm going to have to go in and make patterns with this stuff, this glossy accent stuff, which we'll be doing like we're doing with the other painting, capturing color, holding it there so when color goes over it, it stays that nice lighter color, or sometimes darker color. But we're preserving it that way and then putting more color over. So it's being built up in layers. And yeah, so this needs the lighter gold. We're going to do that. But not until I can lean on this. So let's go and get this out of the way and take a look at the other painting that's been drying over here. Okay, you stand there. Thank you. How are we doing? Well, that looks mostly dry, but not completely. Now, in this case, although I love blending colors, I don't want any blending. I don't want to pull up any of the white, which looks nice and bright white here, but it's actually not. It's actually a little ivoried down, a little closer to the natural clay white, which is perfect, but this is going to be painted. So while this is finishing, I want to get my needle, because I do have plans. I have to fill this with medium before I do the paint job, but before I fill it, I want to annoyingly terrible sound. I hope that's not doing to your ears what it is doing to mine. Hey! Where are you? Let me say, chat publicly. There we are. Hi! I was thinking of you this morning. I love that part of it. So what I'm doing now is bringing the yellow creative energy from the solar plexus up, and I decided the yellow has to be more of a focal point because we don't have enough contrast here, so I'm going to make the golden petals around the heart chakra to show the energy that comes up from here, the creative center, when it lights up, you know, your heart. You achieve, what do they call it? Resonance with your mind, your connection, when your heart feels that joy. So on here, on this side, you see the more emotional, more of the heart kind of squashed down or looking to be kind of collapsed. I am excellent. I am having a wonderful time. Were you here when I still had the Sun Deity 2 out? This is my experiment. I'm doing all my little paint tests on this. So I want to use my my yellow, primary yellow ink, which is what I've been floating down over here to get other colors. I want to put it on these petals, but because they were already painted pink, I needed to put white where I want the gold, and so we're not going there. I don't want orange. We need a really strong color to bring it up to the lips. So it's gonna go let me show you what I'm doing. Okay, so I just painted that curl with the darker gold. Liquitex gold. Liquitex gold is brighter. So I'm going to do Liquitex gold for the Schnozola / eyebrow / flame. So it's slowly coming along. I held everything up to experiment with the foil and disappointedly found that I cannot put anything on the lips that will not destroy the color. It'll all end up a dulled out bronze, copper, and gold, and not the way I would want to do it if I was working with just bronze, copper, and gold. I have one other hope coming. Which could actually be a boon that this did not work. I ordered some of gold that's this hard. Yeah, this hard. I've been experimenting. How long will it last? But it's red. It's red. If it works, if my stuff doesn't dissolve it, which has been the problem, I will do red lips on it. I mean, red, like ruby slipper red. So that's on the way. I bought less than $1. I bought one of these samples. It's definitely enough to do lips. Just one of these little. So this is a hard gold, and let's see, I got 2. They held their color with nail polish and also with the water-based mediums. So I took a chance and ordered, well, I got more of this because I don't plan on ordering from this company again. But I will, whoa, okay, anyway, I will test it. And if that red works, this may open up a whole new, well, for me, a lot of fun. Yeah, I think if I can make those lips like that, like, holy shit. The cool thing is, if that works, they have purple and blue and green. Like, oh, this is better than playing with nail polish. I'm painting in nail polish. I used to do that so I can get those brilliant colors and the shiny and this and that. And it's like, I don't have to. I got this stuff, the triple thick. Oh, baby. It kicks ass. I brushed it on this piece of clay. It was like that. So I put regular acrylics on it. You know how dry and dull they look. That is, I believe, 1 coat. Now I piled it up a little bit on the pink petals, but that is that stuff. Look how shiny that is. And it feels like, is this ceramic or what? So we have a success there. Now I want to say thank you for my future holiday gift. I'm going to guess at least part of it is, or maybe all of it is, my scarf that you made with your own 2 little hands. because I think it's the ultimate irony. Someone makes a scarf for me out of material I know I already love. And it's so warm right now I couldn't wear it, even though it's December. But we have January and February, and there have been some models suggesting January and February may be experienced under a few feet of snow, in which case I will have occasion to wear that. I'm so excited. I'm just waiting for everything to slip into place, for that couch to go so the easel can be slipped out of its box. Perhaps. Well, I'm not going to guess because I love anticipation. And so that's why I don't nag for hints about what it is. Because as much fun as that is, it's really now become a toss-up, like the surprise versus nudging hints out of you where I might guess it, you know? It's like, I'm not expecting a bunch of, remember, they're the only boxes I'm expecting aside from some lost order of toothpicks. And also, I ordered a paper cutter, and also because it was cheap enough, a corner trimmer and extra blades, all right, all at once because it was definitely cheap enough. I was planning on spending $25 on a paper cutter because that's about the average for, the guillotine type. Then I found that my preferred type, using the blade back and forth, I don't need the guillotine. They're dangerous anyway. So I'm like all excited, and it came back to as undeliverable. So I got all this other stuff for $26, $1 over what I was planning. So I went ahead and reordered the main thing, and I'll get it and see how long the blade lasts before I purchase anymore. I don't know why it was undeliverable unless we had some lazy-ass delivery guy at the time, because we do have that happen. They're supposed to bring things up to our apartments. Apparently mine is just too far away. And even if it's not, we have some of these guys that are just leaving things. I mean, they're not making half an effort. They come to the building, they go, oh, I have to dial some numbers. I have to get into the building and go floor to floor. Like, it just occurred to them that's what delivering packages was about. So, yeah. So I'm waiting. I also, like I said, toothpicks. I ordered some toothpicks of all things. It's my favorite plastic toothpick. And it's from Walmart. And I placed an order with Walmart. And the next thing I know, it's like, well, we can't ship from there. It's going to be this day and that day. And it's like, I haven't heard anything, and I still haven't seen the toothpicks. So I have to remind myself to follow up on that. So, if I can keep this moist enough without destroying it, I might be able to scratch away at this without making my ears go insane. Yeah, they're full of shit. I think they're just running out of time. Their shift is ending, and they're saying, oh, fuck it, I'm bringing it back to the plant. Can't deliver it, can't find the people. Yeah. Just being dicks. So, I'm just waiting for my money back. I will be on top of that $26 because I just had to go and spend more money on another one because I need a paper cutter. I have projects coming up that require the neat cutting of paper. And my scissor work, we all saw my scissor work making my snowflakes, like the paper thing behind me over there. Oh, good, this does work. Okay, this is air dry clay. that I have here. So it's actually soaking up a little bit of the water into the surface and allowing me to scratch it without it sounding completely like a chalkboard, you know? When I made my first little scritches, it was like, eh. Is it, let's see, in our case, what was it this time? UPS, which is, to me, surprising. It's really all, we know who, don't wait for him to punch in a number. We see him and we just open the door for him if anyone's there to see it. So, you know, we got a couple of those. But then they've got the other ones, I guess the ones that they've hired for this Christmas season. They take 2 seconds and they go, hey, I'm hungry, man. It's like this. Now, I know I shouldn't talk like that because it sounds like I'm making fun of the Cheech and Chong crowd. And I'm not really, because, you know, I'm one of the Cheech and Chong crowd. But I have seen otherwise perfectly normal people be like that. So what are you doing today? How are you feeling? Oh, let's try and not have to put a mask on. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're bad. Oh, those are the bad ones, huh? Yeah, I don't know what the hell is... why some areas are so excellent, and it's the people who work there. They're assholes. That's all it is to it. Yeah, that's why I don't get here now until the afternoon. I was up early, but SimCity and I had a little arrangement. I needed to finish some challenges. Now, it's a good thing I don't have an ego issue about not coming in first place. I used to be the one that was always in first place in the challenges. And the president of the club. So it looked good. And then we got this guy who's a professor in California. He's awesome. He's like, oh my God, you're a professor of what? Political science? You what? You wrote a book with a partner? You wrote a friggin' textbook? And you do updates? He's figured it all out, numerically speaking. And he always now, I mean, literally almost every single time gets the top score in a mind-blowing fashion, like double what everybody else gets, even if we have to bribe our way through them. It's like, how do you get this frickin' score like this? Anyway, he's got down to a science, and he's always outstanding. We just got a new member who also can kick my ass. However, last time I ended up doing it, I had more time. Right now I don't really have a lot of time, so it's like my morning is SimCity sacred. But I still want to be out of bed and busy doing things so that I can be here by lunchtime or directly after lunch. And if I do well, I am here before lunch, like today. This is going to take a little bit longer to dry. I'm going to have to put it aside for the moment, but I do have the other work right now. I did this painting last week, or last 2 weeks, I don't know, I'm losing track of time. It's going to end up being one of my little Christmas gifts for the people here who are giving me Christmas cards. I don't have any Christmas cards except the ones I designed in 1986. It's like, yeah, I've been using that same 5,000 print. Thank you, my ex-husband. You meant well. So I decided, let's make some little simple but cheerful. So I did this little weird thing with just one Christmas bulb. I just liked the contrast. So I've got this leftover gold, and this is the dark gold. That's the lighter gold that I'll be putting on the nozzle later. So why not? Oh, we're going to do that. Let's be sensible. All right, so I figured out next Wednesday on the 20th, still in time for Christmas, I'm getting to the dollar store because the dollar store has dollar frames. Okay, they're not $1 anymore, they're $1.25, but these little cheap frames, it turned out good. So I'm going to get more of these frames to put these little things in and make these into Merry Christmas. Nice to have you as my neighbor. Oh, and a crack up. I was doing this with my rice papers. This is like one part of the last of my lace rice paper. And just playing, right? And my neighbors came in and she saw this sitting there and she just fell in love with it. So I'm going to be framing that for her. Yeah, exactly, right? And if I don't make it specifically Christmas or too Christmassy, then they can enjoy the gift all year long. So that's what I'll be doing for the next couple of weeks. I should be working, I guess, on my gingerbread houses, but I just have not really been deeply in the mood to go back to working on anything miniature right now. And I will finish them because I do love them. It's just right at the moment, I'd rather be doing this. This is future, It ties into my big fantasies. Now I've got them right over here. I will finish them this season. It's just not going to be in time for Christmas. But hey, I made those gingerbread maple muffins. They're going to reach fame status in this building very soon. I'm going to make them again. They are going to be awesome. And I will be giving them away again. It was just really a craving I had for, I could put that right there. I had a craving for gingerbread. Just, straight up, I wanted some gingerbread. So it happened to hit while I was at Walmart, going by the Christmas goodies section of here, cheap mixes, bake your own. So I grabbed a couple boxes of gingerbread from there. And it's a good thing I know how to bake, because I would have to say it was so cheap, it hardly had any ginger in it that I could smell. So it got an extra big dash of ginger, extra dash of cinnamon. I used butter instead of oil. I used milk instead of water. And what else did I do? Oh, after everything was mixed, I had some maple syrup on a pancake I made, a big apple pancake, and I had leftover, and it's very expensive, perfect, 100% yummy maple syrup. So I just put it in the refrigerator. I took it out, and I just twirled it into the batter and scooped it into cups. I do not eat muffins. It's a gingerbread muffin. It was like as light as cake while it was still fluffy hot or warm. I ate, I made a dozen, I ate 4 of them. Gingerbread. But the maple edition was a first. I just had a curiosity. How would this work if I put maple in? No, I didn't just throw it in because I wasn't wasting all that butter and milk and mixing and all. I did look it up. I said, how does maple go with gingerbread? And it looked good. So I felt, all right, free to try then. All right, we have a lot off the edge there. Oh, it was. I wished I could have shared it with everybody I care about. As much as I didn't want to share it at all. I did give everyone away. I wrapped them up and made little labels that said gingerbread maple muffin, and I hung them from the doorknobs of a bunch of people. All right, yes. Have a wonderful day. Remember to chill out during it. Just chilling. I'm going to be washing. Be right back. Oh, wait a minute. I don't have a be right back button here, do I? All right. Okay. So even though we had to add a little bit of gold, this at least meant that I didn't have to waste any of it, the first gold that I put out. So now we've got a strange background that will eventually be turned into, I don't know, something, some artsy feeling thing. Kind of like that. You just never know where it's going to lead you. So, yep, there we go. We got some gold. This will be used after lunch. Oh. All right, now, ta-da! Move that out of my way. Now we get to take this out. Now, this was, I just hit a dead end with it. I decided originally I was going to go in and do some tracing, and then I got tired of it, actually. So, yeah. See, black would definitely make it stand out. On the other hand, black would make it look like a coloring book. I don't want that. So I'm going to have to think about that. But before we think further, I want to remove it from the pad. I love this stuff. All right. If you want to do watercolors and not have to tape your work down, consider blocks. They do have their drawbacks. So you do have to remove the adhesive. It's not the worst thing. I have tried many tapes. It's been a long time since I worked with a tape that truly held it down and did not let paint leak underneath it, but also when you removed it, it didn't take a layer of the paper with it. And every one I've tried in recent years manages to take some paper. That ruins the finish. And if I want to do anything else on the edges, it ruins the finish. So this is a way to avoid that completely. It's you've got two perfect edges, and the other two have a little glue that you can sit one day when you just feel like peeling it off. Sometimes it comes off really easily. It does not tear the paper off the edges, but it does lift it enough where you can see what adhesive does to paper. It is, after all, basically compressed and dried loose fibers. It's all started as loose fibers in a mix, a slurry of water and other chemicals. This particular paper is 300 pound. I believe it's cold press finish, meaning it has some texture to it. I actually love rough. It's hard to find though. Cold press finish. A hot press finish is, think of like when you iron clothes to smooth out all the wrinkles. That's what a hot press finish is like. It's to give you the smoothest possible, snag-free piece of paper. I do not need that kind of a finish because I don't do like fine detail work. If I want my lines to be really crisp, you want hot press. You want variations and happy accidents. You want cold press and rough. Rough is where you really get, depending on the who made it, but you get a nice texture. Very different. All right, so what do I want to do with this? Oh yeah, I am practicing working with a particular template. You see, this is really big. But what if I mask it off? Why don't we try that? Just to be, you know, different. This is the tape. They call it an white artist tape. Same problem. All right. We've got that point right there. all right. Let's see if this works. Ah, you want to try it? Oops, sorry about that. Like magic, huh? I had green on it already. Now I'm using the yellow to dissolve that. And plant it right here. Excuse me. This is called a blending brush. We can see why. Okay, guys.